Okay, so now I'm going to take a few minutes to explain a little better some ideas I have about adaptations. I'm generally opposed to adaptations. I don't really think that we should make adaptations. I think, and I'm heavily influenced by the comic book writer Alan Moore, I think that works of fiction, works of art are created for their medium. They're created with the paradigm of the medium in mind as they're created. And so there's something unique about something original, so to speak. We can have a different discussion about if there's anything original at all. There's nothing new under the sun, some say. However, so given that I don't really like adaptations, I still consume them because they're entertaining and they're part of our pop culture, and even with music I can't really handle very much of pop culture. But with movies, it's because it's, I don't know, it affects a different part of my brain. Adaptations usually aren't as good as the original. You ever heard the phrase, the movie isn't as good as the book? And so, when I go into an adaptation, I don't expect it to be as good as the original. And so, to some extent, I can appreciate when the adaptors attempt to be self-conscious about that reality, to be self-conscious of the fact that the adaptation cannot be the same as the original. It cannot be just the movie version of a comic book, the movie version of a book, a novel. No, it's a movie. And it's adapted, the story, the plot, the script, whatever is adapted, but it is not, it's not one-to-one. It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And so imagine all these people who are angry and raging over the fact that Venom Let There Be Carnage wasn't called Venom Maximum Carnage. They're already pissed off because the movie didn't get the title that pays the proper tribute to the comic book. Imagine how pissed off these same people will be once the movie comes out and it is a bastardization of a story that they like. People who are pissed off about the name probably like that story, probably liked that run, that comic, that trade paperback, wherever that phrase Maximum Carnage comes from. I don't particularly know, because while I am a comic book fan and I love comic books, I've got boxes of comic books. This is my smallest box, okay? Comic books, like just lots and lots of comic books. I love comic books. So it's not like I don't like comic books, but I don't like all of them. Everyone has their favorites. And some of my favorites were written by Alan Moore. And he's a really good writer. He's the kind of writer who, I imagine he's a pain in the ass to work with as an artist, if you were an artist, because he gives these extremely detailed scripts. He tells the artist everything he wants in the comic, in every panel, where he wants the panel, the layout, how big the different panels are, the colors, the tone, everything. I mean, I can imagine it's not a very liberating feeling to work with a person like that, a person who tells you what to do down to this finest detail. And it's probably not easy, even though it's like you have all the instructions there. But if you ever read an Alan Moore comic book, he has some of the best art in comics. And he's worked with some of my favorite artists in comics. And so all of his movies have sucked compared to the book. From Hell, starring Johnny Depp, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, starring Sean Connery. V for Vendetta, starring Agent Smith from The Matrix and Queen Amidala from Star Wars. Watchmen, starring no one that famous that I can remember. So, and it's not to say that those movies were necessarily bad, but when you compare a work of art, a masterpiece. I mean, Alan Moore is considered one of the greatest, by me, one of the greatest comic book writers of all time, at least that I know of. And so to take a masterpiece of art and entertainment, of emotion, an emotional roller coaster, a philosophical and intellectual adventure, to take that and then to bang, 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 bop, bop, snip, 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 let's get some makeup on it, to then turn it into, or to attempt to turn it into a Hollywood blockbuster. It's, well, I mean, that a lot of that stuff was happening in my adolescence and in my early 20s. So I'm over it by now. I know how they feel. And so that's why I'm saying, just get over it. Get over the preciousness of your favorite things. Or not even your favorite things. Things that you like. And if it's just something you like, why do you have to be so uptight about it? If it's something that you like a lot, then the reason why you shouldn't be uptight about it is because it's going to stress you out. It's going to hurt you a lot to see the things that you love just destroyed in the public. Adaptations are interesting. And I think we'd have better stories if we didn't do them. And that's kind of what I wish. I wish we had better stories. I love entertainment. So as good as an adaptation can be, it maybe, we'll have to explore this a little more. It maybe cannot ever be as good or better than the original by mere fact that it is an adaptation. It is an attempt to take something that was whole already, hypothetically whole, and to re-holify it. I mean, if you understand math, it's like, 1 over 1, the fraction is equal to 2 over 2, and is that the same thing as adapting a comic book to a movie? I definitely don't think so. I think it's like apples to oranges. Be well.